All right, we're about to start. Let's do this. Let me get everything started, guys. Let's see. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Highly Evolved Podcast. I'm your host, Safan. All right. This video, I want to make this video because recently, if you guys haven't heard, a known figure by the name of David Icke. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a guy who's very famous among the truther communities. He's been exposing a lot of um, a lot of stuff that's going around that people aren't aware of. And some people just brush him off, act like he's some kind of nut job. But you know what? He know more stuff than most people. And in this video, I want to show you guys this video where he's giving an interview on why he got stopped. Recently, his visa was taken away from entering Australia to do a speech, a conference, and I want to show you this interview where he's talking about the situation and how things go and the reason why and these anchors they keep rushing them off. I don't understand if they're gonna invite a guest over and they try to discredit it. Like, why even be on these kind of shows if you can treat your guests like this, But I just want to show you guys and put in my commentary of what's going on in David Icke. I mean, I got David Icke's back. These people are freaking stupid. These people are part of the system. All right, just give me 1 second while I get it ready. Okay, hold on. 1 second. All right. Anyway, this is what's wrong with modern day journalism. They just seem to discredit people for stupid, dumb things that they don't understand. They just brush it off. All right, just 1 second. There you go. All right, let's start this right now.
Was set to make his 11th visit to Australia to do a speaking tour. You guys have heard of him, right?
Exactly. Perhaps not everybody has. It's been suggested. He's been accused of having some really anti-Semitic views, some strange sci-fi.
Now, what you guys heard when she said anti-Semitic? Most people don't even know what Semitism means. And most people, when they hear anti-Semitic, they automatically believe that it's related to Jews. Semitic does not mean it's related to Jewish people. Some people, when they hear Semitism, they automatically associate with Jewish people. That's not the case. Let's look it up. Let's look at the word Semitism. Semitic, all right? All right, it's relating to the notion of family, a language that included Hebrews, Arabic, Amharic, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician and Chaldeans, all right, consulting main subgroup of Afro-Asiatic family, all right, related to people who speak Semitic language, especially Hebrews and Arabic, all right. So when people say Semitic, it does not necessarily mean that it's referring to Jewish people. Sure, Hebrew is a group of people, all right, and Arabic too, and Amharic, all right. So why does it only exclude the Jewish people? So why they can't say, oh, he's anti Aramaic or Phoenician or Chaldean or all these Afrocentric family, all right? So I just want to point out that Semitic doesn't necessarily include Jewish. It's everybody in there. There's a lot of people just need to do their history and look at the word. And you don't know what etymology is? Etymology is a study of words and origins, all right? People just don't do that. They don't search for the root of the word, the true meaning of word, because the word can be misconstrued over time. So this is what we need to bring out to people awareness. Learn the origin of words. And when you learn the origin of words, you know the meaning of words, all right? So let's make that clear. Semitic does not necessarily refer to Jewish people. They're just using this to attack David Icke. Let's go back.
implications with reptiles on Earth.
Well, he was supposed to come to Australia, but late yesterday he had his visa cancelled. It's believed he's been banned from entering our country because of claims he is anti-Semitic and is a Holocaust denier. David Icke joins us now live from Los Angeles for this TV exclusive. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I wish I was with you.
Now, I guess the first things first, let's clear it up. Are you anti-Semitic, and do you deny that the Holocaust took place?
First of all, David Icke is smarter than that. When you watch this interview, he knows not to try to fall into their plan. They tried to get him to admit some stupid thing that's obvious. You know, people aren't denying this stuff. Just watch this.
No, you see, if you can't discredit someone by telling the truth and you tell lies, there was an absolute catastrophe for Jewish people in Nazi Germany. And one of the things that I'm seeking to do and have done for 30 years is to highlight the Nazi mentality and the tyrannical mentality that's taking away freedoms all over the world.
See, what he said there, he wanted to highlight Nazi mentality. If you want to highlight Nazi mentality, wouldn't that already prove you that you believe that Holocaust exists? All right, and they keep pushing that he's a denier of Holocaust. What he's saying that he just wants to expose the true meaning of Nazism and what they've done in history. If it's done in history, that means it existed in history, right? It exists. So why would he deny this thing if he tried to explain it?
So ironically, I'm the opposite of how I'm painted. There was a Labour Party candidate, I think his name's John.
See that lady's face? See how disgusted she looks? Like she's trying to process what David Icke is trying to tell her, and the way they do this look, they make this look try to discredit it, what David Icke's viewpoint is. That's what people do. People that don't understand things, they make this ugly stink face look, try to discredit the person who explaining it. And it's not our fault. If we're explaining something and you can't comprehend, that's not our fault. It's your fault for not trying to understand the situation or try to comprehend what we're trying to say. If you can't comprehend, it's a waste of time trying to bother with you.
Josh Burns or something, who was quoted in the newspapers in the last week saying that I am campaigning for Holocaust denial to be taught in the schools.
So you believe the Holocaust did happen?
This is extraordinary.
So you believe
the Holocaust happened. He's just saying that there's more in history that people need to know besides the killing of the Holocaust, the hidden history, the background of the Holocaust, the cause of it, the underlying meaning of it, all these stuff. People are looking at the Holocaust as one narrow view, right? One small window. What David Icke is trying to say is there is a spectrum of the reason why the Holocaust happened. And they're not trying to understand that. They just depict him as he's a denier of Holocaust. He's not saying he's denying the Holocaust. He's saying that people need to learn the whole meaning, the background of the Holocaust.
Yes, of course a fantastic catastrophe happened for Jewish people in Nazi
You're not
Germany.
actually answering the question.
Yes, he did. He said, of course, a catastrophe happened. Why would... That is answering the question. If he said a catastrophe happened, like the Holocaust happened, it means it proved that he admitted that it happened. So why is this dumb lady keep asking the same question, try to divert the narrative to a certain way?
Did the Holocaust happen? You keep saying catastrophe. That's the difference to Holocaust.
No, it's not. A Holocaust is also a catastrophe, stupid lady.
Just clear that up. Is it a catastrophe or a Holocaust?
Am I denying the Holocaust happened? No, I'm not. Clearly, there was an unspeakable happening there, and we should make sure it doesn't happen again. But let me point this out. What do Nazis do? What do Stalinists do whenever they get power? They want to shut down all exposure of themselves, all information that gives people a different view of them.
And that's what we're seeing today with the Liberal Party. what's going on in America. You know, just because the for 8 years they gained power under Barack Obama administration or Barry Santoro's regime, right? Now suddenly they lost power. Now when they lose power, now they try to discredit people who's in the opposition of what they're trying to say, like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the opposition, and what they do, they try to paint him as this racist, this bigot, this homophobe, which is really not. When you look into his policy, when people actually study him, but people are so endowed with their hatred or drenched in hatred in their emotion, they refuse to be rational about the situation. That's what's wrong with the liberals' ideology right now. When people say liberal is a mental disease, I truly believe it is a mental disease. All right, when you don't have no rationality, you're insane.
They burn books, they shut down public meetings. Now, what on earth is a so-called democracy allowing itself to use methods?
First of all, the American or free world country is, first of all, American is not a democracy, all right? It's a republic. A democracy is founded by liberals. That's what it is. This is what happened when democracy take over. What happened during, the French like to say they're the founder of democracy. What happened when they founded democracy? Millions of people die, all right? Millions of people die just to find democracy.
Of tyrannies to shut down debate. We have thousands of Australians from all walks of life, of every age. When I spoke in Sydney last time, the age range was 15 to 90, who have bought tickets to make a decision to hear what I've got to say and then come to conclusions on what they hear, who now are being denied that right. And what has happened to me, it's not about me. It's actually about what this says about the current nature of Australian society, which I'm finding all over the world. The debate is being shut down. You have to believe certain narratives. Two of the things, by the way, that the Minister for Immigration, David Coleman, put in the statement for me not being allowed in was my views on vaccines and global warming. But let's have a...
Right, and he's making as if his views on the Prime Minister of Australia, right? That's what I'm referring to. He makes it seem like vaccine and global warming is some kind of a hate speech. Why is it a hate speech? It's a view against certain practices, not a certain group of people.
Debate then. Instead of shutting it down, you must believe this or you're not coming in the country. And as David Coleman admitted quite openly in this document, I have come into Australia to speak 10 times since 1997, and he admits in the document that...
Look, Dave, I just said it. Just exposed that guy. He came to Australia, or traveled to Australia multiple times in history, like 19 times, what you say, 19 times, whatever, right? Multiple times. He came to Australia saying the same thing, preaching the same kind of teaching, right? How come all of a sudden right now he's starting to enforce David Icke and take his visa away? Why is it this time his visa has been taken away? How come before that his visa wasn't taken away? Clearly there's a motive of doing this.
There's never been a problem. So why now? Because as I become more and more popular and more people come to the events, there's a more and more incentive to stop what I'm saying being circulated so that only one narrative is ever heard, and that's called a tyranny.
Where do these accusations that you're anti-Semitic come from then? You've got famously controversial views, including that there are reptilian lizard people living amongst us and so forth. Where do these claims of anti-Semitism stem from?
He's not anti-Semitic, all right? And she used the reptilian claims. All of a sudden she brought up reptilian, all right? What the hell does that guy do with anti-Semitism? And I'm about to explain what the reptilian when it gets to that part.
What happens is you can name 90% of people in a book who are not Jewish and 5–10% who are. And instead of saying, well, you know, in every community, in every culture, in every income bracket, you're going to have the same range of people. You're going to have lovely people, you're going to have okay people, and you're going to have a few psychopaths and manipulators. The problem is, I can say that about Chinese manipulators, I can say it about American manipulators, British manipulators, French manipulators, as I do, but you name anyone who's Jewish and immediately you're an anti-Semite. No, I don't care if they're outer Mongolian. I care about what they're doing and producing the evidence for that.
See, he's not anti-Semite. He just don't want the practices. You can be a Jew and do good things. That doesn't mean I'm against you. But you could also be a Jew and do bad things. What? Suddenly, when you do good thing and bad thing, what's the difference? I mean, I hate people who do bad stuff. Why do you have to bring race into this? No, Jews do bad things and Jews do good things. All right, and I just don't like the people who do bad things. And suddenly he's picked it as a racist, anti-Semite. So what if he hates Chinese that do bad things? Doesn't mean he's a racist against Chinese, but he loves Chinese that do good things. So he's a racist. So one cancel out the other? That make no sense.
That's what it's about, and this is a way of shutting down legitimate investigation. If I am exposing the Italian mafia, am I condemning all Italian people? Crazy.
Okay. Speaking of crazy, David, do you believe that the world is being manipulated by shape-shifting reptiles that are possibly Jews who control the world through Rothschild? Is that?
Well, I mean.
All right, the reptilians part. All right. Not everybody's a reptile. There's a certain few, but most definitely some members of the royal family maybe are, maybe isn't. But David Icke said the reason why. Watch. Let's get to this part.
You know, people would have to read my books for the detail about that. But let me say this.
See, the reason why I say you read the book for his details is because he can't go publicly saying this. Because if he go publicly saying this, he might get sued for slander. All right? Might get in trouble with the law. Because you can't just say people this and that. I'm sure people out there are saying it, but they don't know the consequences for your words and action. Remember, free speech will be taken away. What you say could be held against you, right? So David Icke understands this. He just can't go willy-nilly and accuse people of this, that, and that. He can get there's consequences. You have to pay for it. That's why he had to write his book. If he writes his book, it's protected under the First Amendment in America, freedom of press. But he's not forcing his book around people. People have to buy it to read it. That's what it is. When you said out loud for the public, automatically you could get sued for it. That's why it's in the book. If you really want to know, you have to get the book. You could charge a penny. You wouldn't get in trouble. Just read the book. That's what it is. I don't think it matters about money. That's what it is, because it's a legal process. You just can't go saying stuff like that.
So that's a yes?
That there are.
See, he say that's a yes. So he's trying to trick him into admitting something he can't admit to it. Because if you admit to it or say anything, go any further, he can get into trouble.
Family bloodlines that were seeded all over the world. And the ancient cultures.
By who?
The ancient cultures, well, by a non-human force. This is where you get in the Bible, for instance, the sons of God are interbred with the daughters of men, which is a story that you find in cultures all over the world,
so
whether it's the African culture.
See, look, they look. So suddenly David Icke claim and book, suddenly they dismiss it because it got aliens. But when you look at the Bible got even crazier stories. And how come they're not excluding the Bible? You know what I'm saying? It's just they obviously showing their bias. You know, they're not being open-minded they're not being fair to David Icke. And they try to discredit him. The way they're questioning and picking what question to ask him. They try to discredit him. They just can't be open-minded and try to listen instead of try question. I'm not saying the question is wrong, but the questioning is clearly an attack on David Icke. Not on question try to understand, but try to attack him.
People all over the world a long time ago, and they are resulting in being human forms, and they are lizards. You've been watching way too much V in the 80s.
Look at that, ad hominem. Why are you attacking? You're supposed to have an intelligent conversation. She's attacking him using ad hominem. You're supposed to act the issue, not attacking the person.
You've not been doing enough research into the background. That's the problem. But the point is that I'm saying that these bloodlines were seeded everywhere in every culture. So where's this their Jews come from?
What, do they take their face off when they go to bed, or what?
Look, she's making an ass out of herself. You know, she's stupid. She's not being intelligent. This is not how you're supposed to conduct an interview. You could tell. Because of the behavior, you tell this is not a serious news outlet show that people shouldn't be watching.
Sorry, I thought I was going to have an intelligent conversation here. Clearly not.
David,
are we going to have an intelligent conversation or what?
David,
what do you think?
I don't agree with a lot of what you said. I don't agree with your stance on immunisation. Let me finish. Let me finish for 1 second. I don't agree with your thoughts on climate change or reptilian people.
What I'm saying.
But what I do agree with is that you should actually be able to speak, because we live in a democracy, and I am a big supporter of free speech. And I think what happens when the government then stops people like you coming to the country to talk and to have their say, it actually emboldens people who support you, and then they jump on the bandwagon that the government is trying to shut down free speech, and there is a conspiracy theory to shut down free speech.
She wants to say we live in democracy. Once again, I want to say democracy is a form of socialism, because look, when you look at democracy, everybody got one vote, everybody are equal to one vote. When you analyze that, when everybody's are equal one vote, what is that? That's socialism. Everybody are equal to each other. When people are fighting for equality, what are they usually fighting for? Socialism. Socialism believe in equality, or everybody's equal to one and another. That's what the principle of socialism and communism is. Everybody are equal to one another. And democracy is the same thing. Democracy is socialism, because they believe that everybody get one vote and equal. All right? That's socialism. That's not free market. It's socialistic. When people say a democracy, mention anything about the democracy, it's socialism. When you look at it, when you analyze it, see, the thing is, people just like to listen. They don't want to analyze it. They don't want to do their research, like David Icke said earlier. She don't want to do her research. All right? I hate this idea when people say is we live in a democracy. Yeah, you live in a socialistic democracy. That's what it is. Democratic. What's North Korea's real name? Democratic Party of North Korea, whatever, DPRK. Democratic socialism. It's the same thing. That's what they don't understand about. Democracy is a part of socialism.
What do you think about our government letting in people like...
And by the way, I want to mention again, America is not a democracy. America is a republic. We are not a democracy. America is a republic. When you look at the California flag, what does it say? California Republic. All right? It's not a democracy. America was not founded on democracy.
Convicted rapist Mike Tyson, wife basher Charlie Sheen. I mean, you've been stopped from entering the country because of your views. What do you think about people who are let in who've actually committed crimes?
That's up to people to decide.
Look, David, I know that was a set of questions. They try to put them in this category of domestic abusers. Like, what the hell? How's that got to do anything?
If they think they are going to be a danger to society. I mean, if you're going to have a serial killer come into...
David Icke was not committed for any of these domestic abuse. He's just being banned because of his opinion and his lecture of speaking what he have in mind. He's got no history of beating people, beating wives, of violent acts. So why you bring up these figures? This is the interview about free speech, not domestic violence.
The country, then obviously you have to say, hold on a minute, do we want this person here? But what we're talking about in my case is not violence. I'm the most non-violent person you could ever meet. It's about information. It's about opinion. And you are quite right in what you've just said. Once you...
See what I just said? David, I just said what I just said about him. He's not a person of violence.
You start having governments dictate what people can see and not see, you are in a tyranny. You're controlling the narrative. And surely in any free, open, mature society, people have access to all information available, and then they are free to make their opinion and their perceptions based on that information. Once you start skewing the information and saying you can hear this, but you can't hear that, then that's how tyrannies work, and that's why Nazis burned the books, and Nazis shut down public meetings, and the Stalinists did the same. That's what tyrannies do. And the fact that it's now happening in Australia, as it's happening in other countries, including my own, shows you that we're going down a very dark, dangerous, Orwellian road, which I know from the last 24 hours, a lot of...
Listen, Australia, when you looked at the story history, Australia... What are they a part of? They're part of the Queen. They're property of the Queen. And when you look at Britain, what does Britain do not have? Britain do not have free speech, all right? So that's why they're still like this, because they're still under the power of the Queen. The Queen owned Australia, or any country that have the Union Jack on it, on its flag, is mean that it's owned by Britain, British, all right?
Australians of all walks of life are very, very concerned about the way this is going.
I think there's certainly an argument for free speech, David. I must confess I had not heard of you until I found out that you'd been banned. But I still feel like we haven't actually established the core reason, which is why Josh Burns and members of the Jewish community petitioned the minister to ban you. Do you actually believe that between 6 and 12 million Jews were killed by the Nazis and the Germans in World War II?
Between 6 and 12 million.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it could have been 5.5 million, it could have been 6 million, it could have been 6.5
millions. Do you believe
million.
millions of Jews were killed by the Nazis?
What the hell? He just said it earlier in the interview. Why are you coming back to the Jewish question? Do you believe in millions of Jews? Because you know why? Because I don't want to say that, you know, those people, they run the media. All right? I don't know if the algorithm could pick up what I'm saying, but I hope not. But we all know that they run the media. That's why they have to feel like they have to protect these classes. Certain classes are more protected than others.
A vast number of people died, quite clearly, in concentration camps run by Nazis, which...
Not just concentration camps, they were rounded up and shot like animals.
Which shut...
What the hell? He just said it. Most of them get killed. What more do you have to say?
Down the ability to expose what they were doing. If the Nazis had not have shut down opposition, how much of what was going on in Nazi Germany would people have known earlier? And maybe a lot of that. Which
brought back to what I'm trying to say. People don't know all the detail of what happened during World War II. That's what that was David Icke's point in the beginning. He believed that people would die in a concentration camp, and people did die, but they need to understand the story behind it, the underlying meaning of the Holocaust, underlying meaning of World War II, underlying meaning of the Nazi regime. That's what he's trying to say. These people, these media people, just think about when they talk about the Holocaust, is only reflect on one aspect. When is more dynamic than that. It's not just killing. It's innovation. It's technology. It's politics. They always think it's killing, but it's not. But let me continue.
Would not have happened. This is what happens when you shut down the free flow of information.
David,
it should not be happening
David, you
in
just
democracies.
keep tiptoeing around what should be an easy and direct question, as Joe has asked. Do you believe millions of Jewish people were rounded up, shot, gassed during the war? Yes or no? Millions, yes.
Did millions of people die in the concentration camps? Yes.
Okay, and do you know who the reptilian...
See, he just said it. Now she's going to come back to the reptilian question.
Do you actually know, in today's society, who the reptiles are?
See, I answered this before in the video. He can't say it because there's a legal ramification.
Who were seeded long ago, and it's come through the generations. Do you know their names?
People would have to read my books for the detail.
Okay.
When you accuse people of this kind of stuff, is it's like saying this person is a pedophile. That's why that's when you accuse somebody of a pedophilia, you could get sued for this. Same as if you accuse somebody of some other things, accuse somebody as a reptilian or something like that, because he just can't say stuff like that because he still need to provide proof. And some of the stuff you can't do it if you can't do it. He can't just say it within a 12-minute time. You need time to explain it, like go into detail, and that takes time to go into detail.
I'll get your book today and I'll have a crack at it. But can you just give me one?
You can't do this in sound bites.
Yeah, but can you
I know some of them.
Well,
See, look, he just said you can't do it in sound bites. You got to go in full detail.
I'm asking you, do you know who they are? Are they in positions of high rank?
Yes, they are. They're in positions of power, absolutely.
Are they Jewish people who work for the Rothschild organisation?
Look, they went back to the Jewish, asking the Jewish people. So they try, if he says something about the Jewish people, they can accuse him of anti-Semitism. So you can't say that because that's a trap question that he just asked.
Some of them are. Most of them aren't. So again, you know, when you're talking about a range of people from a range of backgrounds, why suddenly, because you mention someone who's Jewish, is that kind of, oh, no, you're anti-Semitic? Why aren't I anti-Chinese and anti-American and anti-British?
See, that's why I'm referring back to my definition of Semitism. That David, I know the definition of Semitism. Semitism does not necessarily mean that you're Jewish, right? That's why he said, how come he's not anti-Chinese?
Anti-French when I name people from those countries. It's crazy. And so this is what happens when you
we have heard cutting down the debate.
You...
Yeah, you've said that about 7 or 8 times. Got it, David? I got to say, I'm with Sarah. I believe if people are crazy enough to pay money to hear you speak, you should be allowed to. That is called free speech.
Well, people are crazy enough to listen to this program every morning. How crazy can you get?
Yay! Woo, woo, woo.
Indeed. David Icke, thanks for joining us.
Okay, that was the end of the interview. All right, let me try to get myself back. One second. Thanks for hanging in there. All right. As we all see, that was a hit piece. They tried to discredit this truth community. These people try to find out what's really going on. And, yeah, these people are scumbags. These fake journalists. They're just... These people who's in front of the camera, they're not even real journalists. They're just pretty faces that have a degree in communication. That's what they are. They're not real journalism. Journalism does not go...